In this module, we will focus on the second stage of fermentation process, that is the production of metabolites. What are metabolites? Metabolites are the intermediates of any metabolic process happened in any cell. We know that there are different metabolic pathways like glycolysis, Krebs cycle, etc. are happened or occur inside the cell. So, when we culture any microorganism or organism through fermentation, so these metabolic pathways is a continuous process. So, as we see in the first stage that biomass can be our focus product. But on the other hand, if we not focus upon the biomass, we focus upon different metabolic pathways and their intermediates. So if we control those metabolic pathways by our own interest for the sake of a desired product, then those products come in the second stage of fermentation process, which we called as metabolite production. So metabolites are classified further into three categories, or more than three, mean primary metabolites, secondary metabolites, tertiary metabolites, and so on. But what are primary, secondary, and tertiary metabolites? So primary metabolites are those which are directly involved in any primary metabolic pathways. As we see that glycolysis and Krebs cycles are the basic pathways, almost occur in every second organism. So these intermediates which involve in glycolysis or in a Krebs cycle mostly called as primary metabolites. But the secondary metabolites are those which are not directly involved in those metabolic processes but usually have an important ecological function. Mostly in a normal cycle of a cell, these metabolites are often produced, but these secondary metabolites are mostly produced in stress or as a result of an inducer, or sometimes secondary metabolite produced when cell want to reserve their food, etc. So if we talk about different example of primary metabolite, citric acid is a very common example of primary metabolites. The same case of oxalic acid, glutamic acid, and amino acids. So as concerned the secondary or the tertiary metabolites, different aflatoxins and different toxins comes in this metabolite section. So these aflatoxins are the class of biological carcinogens produced by certain molds that include liver cancer. Molds that produce this material grows well on grains, peanuts, and other rich nutrients. But you know, this is the normal examples when microorganisms grow in a field. But we can produce such agent through fermentation process. As I already told in previous modules that the fermentation can be utilized for the production of bioweapons. So the aflatoxin process for such purposes can be called as a bioweapon, but that not come in biomass production. But the production of aflatoxin for such object comes in metabolite production. Here I can quote another example of such metabolites, which is, here you can see that botulinum toxins, that also comes in metabolite production. So such kind of the products which is the result of some metabolic pathways can be called as metabolite productions.